Hi everyone, and welcome to this tutorial where I show you how to use PlotSense. The first thing you're going to do is to pull up your terminal and type pip install PlotSense. This will pull PlotSense into your environment so you can actually use its features. The next thing you're going to do is to import the modules. You're going to need the recommender module, which will suggest visuals, the plotgen module, which will create plots, and the explainer module that will explain the plots. Also go ahead to import pandas that will read your data frame. Import Seaborn if you're going to be using test data like we would in this tutorial. And also import OS to create an environment for the key. Speaking of keys, the next step will be for you to log on to grok.com and get yourself an API key. And I'll show you how to do that. I already have an account. However, you come on here to grok.com, it's going to ask you to create an account or sign into an existing account. When that's done, click here, API keys. And then you also want to come here and click create API key. And now you're going to name your API key whatever you want to name, right? So for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to name mine tutorial. Verify you're human. And once that's verified, go ahead to submit that. Now, very important for you to note, you need to make sure that you not only copy this API key, but you also store it away where you can easily recall it. And this is because, as shown on the screen, Grok will not show you this API key again, and you might need it. So keep it somewhere where you can easily recall it. That's one. Two, also make sure you keep it where others cannot see it. Right, so just copy that, come back here to your notebook, and here I want to highlight that you need to this code as is, right? The reason for this is so that you don't have to keep putting in your API key whenever VS Code asks for it, right? So you want to make sure that it's a part of the code itself. So you're going to specify Grok API key like so, because this is how VS Code requests for it. And where it says your API key here, just go ahead and paste the API key that you've gotten for Grok right there, also within quotations as so. Next, you're going to load your data frame. So if you have a data frame already, you want to use pandas. However, for us, who don't have data frames, we can use Seaborn to test by using data frames available on Seaborn. So using the get datasets function, Seaborn gives us a list of datasets available. So we're going to pick flights from this list to work with. In the next step, we want to name a variable df, which is short for data frame, and we want to store the loaded data flight from SNS, which is Seaborn, into df. And now the fun part. Here's where we actually get to use PlotSense. The first step is to get recommendations of charts, right? So we create a variable called suggestion, and we then use the recommender module here. We pass the data sets, and we also specify the number of recommendations we want. So this means that we're telling PlotSense we want it to recommend 10 charts based on our data that would make sense of our data. So this gives us 10 suggestions in the output. We go ahead and pick the one we want. In our case, we're going to pick one, bar chart. Now, you need to note which index you want to work with. Remember I said we're doing bar chart, so that will be 1, because in the next step, you're going to have to specify. Now, the next step is use the plotgen module. And here we create a variable plot, and we're just going to pass the data set and the index of the recommendation from this variable, which was the last step, and then we're going to run that. And like so, it gives us a bar chart, which is what we said we wanted. Alternatively, you can also use iloc to repeat that step that we've just gone through. So data frame, suggestions, the iloc, the index. And now for the last step, explanations. So now we've gotten a recommendation of charts based on our data sets. The chart has been plotted using the plotgen, and now we're using the explainer module. Here we create a variable explanations. You can really name these variables anything you want them to be. And now we put the variable from the last step, which is plot, which is the plot, into the explainer function. And then we go ahead to print explanations. We don't just call explanation, but we print it. And I'll tell you why in a bit. But here we can see the output gives us an overview, key features, insights and patterns, and conclusions. Isn't that cool? Now, if we just go ahead to call explanations, it will give us an output, but it will not be the same. So here you can see that it gives us something, but it's horizontal. It's going to be hard to read that. And that's why I really want to specify that you make sure you use the print function as we've done here. So you actually get output that makes sense. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and have fun using PlotSense.